Keep us up the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined tonight with two co-hosts. Very fortunate to have Digger Jim. How you doing tonight, sir?
Very good, very good.
And of course, one of the coolest guys on YouTube, Nick from Nick's Kix and Comix, on his 500 sub push, guys. So everybody go sub up Nick, and his link is in the description, as his brother John's. And I think I have to add yours, Jim. So don't sub up Jim. Screw that guy. That guy's a punk.
No, he's at 182, man. We got to get him to 200.
Yeah,
So
and
put him down
John,
below.
you were at 99. So guys, sub up John. Get him over that 100 marker.
Oh, I'm at 100. I hit 100.
Nice. We got to get you comfortably over it, though, John.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because somebody's going to drop off.
Yeah.
You know, you know how the YouTube goes.
Right.
Yep.
But we are going to put John in the big seat because it's all about him tonight. And again, I want to thank my two co-hosts for coming on. I appreciate you both, guys. Thank you, gents.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, who are watching this on the rewind, John and Jim are brothers, so little sibling.
If you can't look at those two guys, you know that they're related.
Right. You got bigger issues.
Yeah.
We'll say a quick hi to the chat. We got Chris, the comic vet. How you doing, sir? System Shock, glad to see you. Thanks a lot for joining us. Brad, how are you, buddy? We got Naman, of course. How you doing, Naman? All right, so we got the chats already starting to roll here. It'll be just a moment before we have Chop and Drop and a few others in here when they get their notifications. But, John, as I like to do on these shows, this show is about the guest, and it's about promoting you. There's the people who are going to be in the chat. They know you. They're here to see you. But for those who are catching on the rewind, and this is their first exposure to you, give a little backstory of yourself and what your channel's about.
Sure. I am John, or Brother John Comics is what I go by on Instagram and YouTube. And the reason for that is we already talked about that guy up there. There is my brother, Jim. And all my life, that's what I've been. You know, whether it was starting a new school year and coming in and a teacher going, "Ooh, you have to be Jim's brother." And that's what I always was. I was Jim's brother everywhere I went. When I came into this community, I came in as Jim's brother because he introduced me to it and all you guys. And he was the one that kind of said, you know what, you should get in on this, man. You should start doing YouTube, start doing Instagram, just whatever you feel like doing. And so that's what I started. And my channel really is, it's hard to sell because it's pretty directionless right now. I don't have any kind of set schedule of content. I mainly do, right now, I'll do like any challenges that are put out for, like first appearances, or Bearded and Cole have their challenge. And I do unboxings of different things that I get. And I've been fortunate enough to kind of win some different things from different people. So I kind of try to highlight those things in the unboxings, but really most of my videos are going to be about the actual people, because what I really like to do is kind of spotlight the community, kind of like you do, Gary. I like to, if I make a video, it's going to be more about the person that I interacted with than the actual comics, just because I want to, highlight just all the great people we have in this community making good stuff. So I'd like to kind of get some regular content going. I'd like to work out something with my brother that we could do together, because that's really kind of my main reason why I started doing any of this. Is comics was something that he and I kind of connected on and shared growing up, and then we kind of hit adulthood, and he moved to another state, and we didn't get to talk as much, or didn't make the effort to. And this is something we've always been able to share and connect on, and we've kind of come back together on it. So that's a big goal for me, was to always be able to help him and share with him. So that's mainly what it's about.
If you guys do a show together, you'd have all of us tuning in for sure.
Yeah, it's funny because I think we get obviously the comments about looking alike. Now that we've gotten older, it's not just are you brothers, it's are you twins. We get that a lot because I guess I look so old now. But we're pretty different in personalities, I think. So it would be an interesting kind of mix to see how we play off each other.
Right. And
right, so I have to ask
in the comics, because one of you is a Marvel guy, one of you is a DC guy.
Yeah, I've leaned heavily to DC, but storytelling is my big thing. If it's good storytelling, I'm there. But that's mainly been DC is my focus when it's
Well,
come to that.
let's kind of touch on that storytelling. So, growing up comics, what is your favorite storyline? The one that hooked you and kept you in there, the one that you can always revisit and enjoy.
I don't know if I could pick one. I have ones that I go back and reread every year or so, just because that nostalgic feel. The one that what hooked me in to begin with, though, when I was a kid. I mean, I was pretty young when we started collecting because Jim was a little older than me, and he kind of dragged me along and let me participate. But I think the real hook for me was the Wolfman Perez New Teen Titans run. When I was younger, that was when I was really hooked in that this is something I want to get every month when it comes out. This is a story I want to make sure I have all the pieces of and go through. So that was really the big draw for me at first.
And was that with the Judas contract back then too? And
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All of that. I got that first issue. I can remember getting that first issue off the spinner rack, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, we got to come back every month and get the next one."
Now, were you for Teen Titans? Who's your favorite Titan?
My favorite Titan and my favorite character probably overall is Wally West. So it would have been Kid Flash at the start of that, and then eventually Flash. But yeah.
And now Flash is your all-time favorite character, as we know. But the Flash that is your favorite is the Wally West one. So what do you think about all the Barry Allen stuff? That
I'm
do you
not.
think Wally's going to come out and have his time to shine?
I mean, they've done that before. It's a cycle, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of characters and different things, but I'm not so precious with them. I was like, oh my gosh, that hits hard when Barry died in Crisis. That was a big thing, but I was never like, oh, we need him back. When Hal Jordan turned evil and died, I never was like, oh, we need him back. I was like, all right, they've served their time. So, when Barry died, Wally had his time to shine and became Flash and so forth. Now they're just recycling. They brought Barry back, and I don't know. To me, it just makes it more confusing. But if it's a good story, I don't care.
Right, so as far as collecting goes, too, and both of you, feel free to interrupt and ask any questions you have. But you and Jim share a love of comics. Is there any other hobbies that you two share together?
No, not really.
No.
I don't like. I was trying to think. Like Jim has comics and the metal detecting, and I was trying to think. I was like, I have comics and like that's about it. Maybe music. I mean, I'm very big into music and always have been since I was younger. But I mean, that's hard to say. Like everybody likes music for the most part.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of questions. All right. First of all, it's very hard for me to believe that you guys are not twins because you look exactly like. Do you favor your father or your mother more?
Oh, father.
So he's got very strong genes then.
For sure. Like, well, it's parts from both. Like both of us with this gray hair, our mother turned gray very early.
Oh, yeah.
So we got that from her. But we definitely look. I went over to see my mom last week, and I got out of the car, and she said, "Sometimes when you pull in the driveway, you look so much like your father, it freaks me out." So I was like, "Okay, thank you. I guess I don't know." But yeah, we definitely. I think at least I do get told that the most, that we look like our father.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned earlier that you always were Jim's younger brother. Was that a good thing? Like, what kind of reputation are we talking about for the guy up there?
And do nothing.
Well, to me, it's always been a great thing. I've always benefited from it in some way. He's always looked out for me. And then we have an older sister. So our sister's the oldest, and then 3 years later came Jim, and then 3 years later came me. So Jim and my sister Susan, they didn't do anything when we were growing up, when we were younger. So by the time I got into high school, my parents were kind of lulled into a sense of complacency that like, oh, kids are just good. Our kids are just good. They don't do anything. So they had no clue what I was up to.
Right.
And so I kind of went a little off the rails a little bit, but
No.
Jim and them gave me cover on that.
Let's be clear though. When he put up that Kiss poster,
oh, that was way younger.
I think that's what finally, said, okay, my mother couldn't do anything with them. Like I had posters up, but they were like, what was that girl from TJ Hooker?
Yeah,
Heather Locklear.
Or one of them, or
Heather Thomas.
Heather Thomas, she had like the pink bikini. Yeah. That was the poster I put up.
Yeah, he had that and Linda Carter.
Right, and my father gave me a superhero of Linda Carter poster when I was young, and I'm like, "Where's Batman? Where's this is Wonder Woman?"
Anyone in their right mind would put that poster up.
Yeah, right, sure. Right. But he put up Kiss, and I
had like, Kiss and Adamant.
You're in trouble, bro.
That tells you a little bit of how my music tastes were kind of all
over
the
Kiss
map.
too. I grew up on Kiss.
I had that revolutionary, that 1776 poster of them in the garb and stuff, and then I had an Adamant poster, and I don't know. I think my mom was better with that than she was with all the ladies that Jimmy was trying to put on the wall.
So it was probably like you said, the revolutionary English uniform that you were favoring more, because that was Adamant too, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he had the same deal.
Well, I was just wondering, because I try to make it as plain as possible that Brother John is definitely my favorite out of the two. I mean, there's Jim I could take or leave.
Well,
but it's you, Brother John, I prefer. So I just want to make that known yet again. So
appreciate that. No, he's always looked out for me. He's always been, good to me. I can remember a kid up the street. He talked about on his episode him getting into it with a guy that, and I jumped on that guy's back. That's true, but that's only because he set that example. He had a friend of his that pushed me one time. And I just remember that guy wound up on the ground next to me. And he was like, look, I can push my brother if I want to, but you don't touch him.
Yeah, one time,
we got to get you a little TCB shirt there, Jim. Taking care of business.
Must have been, he would have been a freshman in high school. And this is how long ago it was. I was at the mall, and this girl, I was just minding my own business, and I walked by this girl, and she came and tapped me on the shoulder. She goes, "That's how it's gonna be? You're just gonna walk by and not say anything?" And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, "We spent all day together today." And I was like, "I don't think so." And she goes, "Yes, we did. We were in band. I remember." I'm like, "Oh, you mean my brother?" And she's like, looking at me really hard. And I'm like, "That's my brother, not me. I don't know you. Go away. You freshman." And, and she's just staring. And she went over to her girlfriend and was shaking her head going, that came in. So when I went home, I was like, "Yeah, man, this girl kind of kicked me in the nuts, bro. What's up with that?" And he was like, "What?" But yeah, I'll never forget that. I was like, this girl was like, "That's how it's going to be." And I was like, I don't know you. Yes.
What's with this psycho? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, but
well, at least John didn't do something when she was looking to hit him.
Right.
Always a perfect gentleman.
He was always nice to the ladies. There's no doubt about that. But I couldn't get over that. I was like, come on. We don't look that much alike. But I will tell you another thing. He was on Mark's stream not too long ago, and I counted it. 4 times he called him Jim. 4 times when he called him Jim.
I did at week's end, and Mark kept calling me Jim. And I just ignore it. I'm so used to it by now.
Yeah, we both
It's
are.
just like not even a big deal.
I'll be honest. You guys mentioned earlier that you're 6 years apart, and I cannot see it.
3.
We're 3 years apart.
Yeah, 3 years apart.
Yeah, our sister's 6 years from me, so she's the oldest. And the funny thing is our dad, he was the middle child, so he had an older sister and a younger brother, just like the 3 of us are laid out.
Now, is your sister in the comics too, or just you two?
No, not at all. No.
No,
Mm-mm.
she's
She's
like,
not
we're
into
nerds.
anything.
They're my
She was
brothers.
when we were younger. She was big into dance.
Yeah. And she
And,
does. She still does. She takes a dance class still for exercise and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But if you messed with her dance gear, you would get the beat down.
Yeah.
I can profess to that.
That
Don't
is
touch
true.
my tutu.
Don't
Yeah.
touch my dance.
And
cane
her, or when we were really young, her and the girl next door were friends, and that girl had a Barbie dream van, and we made ramps and jumped that thing and beat it all up. And I remember us getting in trouble for that big time.
Yeah, we got beat down.
We were pretty young, but we were like, oh, sweet, let's make some ramps and run this Barbie dream van.
Nice.
But she's actually very driven and motivated kind of person. So she doesn't like lock into hobbies super hard. She is all about setting goals, setting tasks, and completing them to get to wherever she wants to be.
Right. She thinks
The
comics
rest
pretty
of
much
us are like, ooh, something shiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, in growing up, did you share books, or was it like was there one instance where there might have been a bit of a disagreement where, hey, that's my book, or no, I want that, or
no, that didn't start. I mean, we just had everything together. That didn't start till now that we're adults. I can tell you, we grew up and all of it just went in one pile, and we just one box, and we both just pulled from it. And then eventually, we all kind of all go through that, probably where you hit a certain age and other things become the priority, and you just stop. You want to use your time and your resources towards other things like girls or whatever that might be. And we both kind of did that. And then, both of us picked it back up later. But there was a time where I had all of our comics at my house. And then I went through a divorce. And not to go into all of that, but I moved out and so forth. But all the comics were at my ex-wife's house. And I had not gone over there to get them. And Jim kept bugging me and saying, hey, I'm coming down sometime. I would like to get some of those comics. I was like, all right, I'll get them, and we can do that. So I actually contacted to get the comics, and when I was going to go pick them up, and he came down, and instead of contacting me, he contacted my ex-wife and said, hey, can I come by and get those comics? So he came by and got the comics, all of them. He took all of them, right? And then he went fishing or something with a buddy, and then went back to Maryland. Didn't even come by and see me. And I was like, oh,
I'm glad I picked the right
and then
one.
it was 2 years later before I got picked out all the good ones. So he's got the whole Teen Titans run. He's got the whole X-Men run, all the things. He kept all the good stuff.
These are the same books you guys had from way back when?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who had the job, though?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Him.
Okay.
I mean, and he had, he was back in and collected, but like all of the stuff, I will say all of the stuff I collected when I was like in college and right out of college when he wasn't collecting, that's all the crap I have. And, I love them, but that was the 90s when, comics were booming and coming, I was buying all sorts of garbage that was coming out, but to me, I love them. So it's okay.
Justice League, Europe. Ugh.
So, yeah. I loved all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's like just not just we talked about the Marvel DC thing, but I'm also very much like teen books are very much.
We both liked Legion of Superheroes, though. We did like that. There was that. I think. Did we get that from the Osborns?
Yeah,
though?
Right here. This is the one for me that started it all.
Yeah,
Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes. It's number 212. And this is a very nice copy that my wonderful brother gave me, because I have another copy of this where if I take it out of the bag, pages will fall out and the cover falls off, because that's how much we read it.
Yeah.
And our neighbors gave us that. We had neighbor next door that had 3 boys that were older than us. And they just gave us some of their comics. And I remember reading that book when I was very young, and specifically can remember that memory of going, all right, this guy just bit a flagpole made of metal and knocked it over on the bad guy. I'm here for it. Matter Eater lad, I am in. I need more of this. And that's what hooked me in. I can remember that specifically.
Yeah, we used to get those for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the Legion of Superheroes and Superboy. That I like that group.
Now, did you guys have the same taste in the cartoons growing up, or did you guys fight over what you were going to watch for cartoons? And what were your favorite superhero cartoons?
Yeah, we were pretty locked in on that just because the options were pretty limited.
Yeah.
You know, and we would watch anything that was even tangentially related, you know, to some kind of superhero genre or type of thing. I mean, you know, like Arc 2, you know, oh, that guy had a jetpack. Sweet. We're going to watch that every week for sure. You know, all of the Sid and Marty Krofft shows, or like Bigfoot and Wild Boy, those different ones, you know, we're in for all of it. Super Friends, we were, you know, we had to watch that.
You couldn't watch TV until 4:00. My mother was locked into all the soaps.
Yeah, during the day. But I mean, I'm talking on weekends. Like, like during the week, we would come home and we could, you know, the TV was not ours. We would be like, oh, but they're doing reruns of Batman, you know, the 60s Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but God and Light is on, so I don't care. So we
didn't get that.
You know, we could, so it was like 6, and then we would be, you know, then we're stuck with Zoom. And you know, we didn't want to watch the news, and she didn't want to watch the news.
That's
so
that dial, she'll guide you to the light.
Yeah. We could watch Zoom, and then it was like Via Legre came on after, which wasn't even in English, but we didn't care. It wasn't the news. We're watching Via Legre, boys. Let's do it. Yeah, we were pretty in line in terms of like TV watching or cartoons and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, but what was your guys' favorite? Was it Super Friends? Was it Spider-Man, His Amazing Friends, 90s X-Men? You know, Thunder the Barbarian. You guys had to have one that you were posted there just waiting for.
I like Thundar and them the best, but I also love Super Friends.
I like I mean, it's hard because they came out at different times, right?
Yeah.
But like I really like the Herculoids.
Yes.
You know, I was big on that, and it unfortunately didn't last very long. But you know, like Super Friends was always the fallback. If that was on, we were going to watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the Herculoids, and it's kind of like my comic book taste. If it's a little bit different but still connected in some way, I kind of like it. You know, that's the way most of my comic collecting has been.
I'm like that too. Like, I'm a big sucker for like especially the Marvels, the 4-issue miniseries. You just get this little complete run. You got a complete little story arc.
Right.
It's so fun to collect. And if I see a 4-issue series and it's complete, odds are it's going to come home.
Yeah,
right.
That's what got me back into comics when I had stopped and taken a break and so forth. And then later, when I was in college, I started picking back up stuff here and there, but I didn't get really big back into it until I found some information about Kingdom Come. You know, once I saw the promotional art for that with Alex Ross's work, I was like, okay, I gotta find this. And I was like, what is this Elseworld stuff they're talking about? You know, why is this isn't in regular continuity? And at the time they didn't say that. It wasn't really labeled as an Elseworld. It was a possible future. But I was like, yeah, I'm in. And then I started just kind of diving hard into everything again.
Weren't you in a chat or something that when it first came out?
Yeah. So like at my job at the time, I got internet at my desk, which was, you know, the internet was kind of a new thing. And I said, well, I'm going to look up, you know, some stuff I'm interested in that won't get me in any trouble, at least. And so I looked up this Kingdom Come thing, and there was a guy who had created a site that was just a message board where he would share information about any rumors or any promotional art that came. And it was a regular message board where you could comment, and we got a bunch of us on there that we would just talk and have discussions. And then that guy eventually created CBR, comicbookresources.com. That was Jonah Whelan. And he opened it up to all sorts of other stuff. And we had a whole community there, kind of like this, of people that I'm still in touch with today. He had different message boards, you know, because that's what the technology was back then. There wasn't any of this YouTube stuff. Different message boards, and he asked some of us to be different moderators of the different boards and stuff like that. So we all kind of have, kind of just became friends just like this. And we stay in touch now. We still talk to each other. We've kind of all gone our different ways, and we're all over the country and in other countries. But we still keep in touch and that kind of thing. So it was really neat. And then eventually he sold CBR to whoever owns it now and made a bunch of money and retired retired at 30 something.
That'd be nice. That'd be really nice.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
So Adrian Pandawesome, Adrian wanted to know if you guys have ever fought over any girls.
No, because the age difference was too weird. Although, I mean, Jim's wife and I are the same age. That wasn't until we got older, that they met each other, and we were all adults. But no, when we were younger, I will say, there was like, he was always like, so he was a senior when I was a freshman in high school. And he always kind of, was there for advice if I needed any or anything like that. I do remember seeing my freshman year coming in and seeing this girl. And I came home and I was like, Jim, I saw this girl today. And he was like, yeah, it's so-and-so. And I was like, no, you don't understand this girl. And he was like, yeah, it's so-and-so. And he was 100% and right. I didn't have to say anything about it. The next day I was like, that's exactly who he was talking about. He knew exactly who I meant. So we kind of had the same eye, I guess.
Yeah.
But we knew to kind of steer clear.
Yeah.
And,
right.
So I'm gonna ask a question, and I can't remember the whole story, brother. So you're gonna have to help me. John's when John got out of school, might have been while you was in college. You did the Time Warner business.
Yeah, I started when I was in college. I worked for Time Life. So Time Life books, music, and videos that you could get online on TV. You'd see the commercials for Time Life books and stuff like that.
Can you tell?
I started working there when I was in college in the mailroom.
Who was the? But eventually you got on the headset because you got. Eventually I moved into once I graduated college, I moved into customer service. Right. Who were the famous people that you talked to?
Oh, there were a couple of different people that called in at the time. Luke Perry. I don't know if you remember Luke Perry. Well, yeah. Luke Perry called in. There was like.
And what did they buy? That was the thing.
He bought a ton of history books. It was one on the World War II. He bought the whole set of World War II books. The Old West book series that we had, he bought those. But there was a bunch of different people.
It was like one of them bought something about witchcraft or something.
Oh yeah, I can't remember who that was. Somebody did. We had like an occult. We had an occult series thing that they did. I can't remember.
That sounds funny.
Yeah, that somebody bought. I can't remember who it was.
Because I remember you telling me, and I was like, that makes sense.
Yeah,
it was one of the singers, and I'm trying to think of who it was. But
Michael Bolton, maybe. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding.
Steve Perry,
deep into the occult.
Perry called one time or something like that. I want to say Steve Perry called or something one time.
I don't remember.
I just remember.
I think I'd remember that.
He'd come home and he'd be like, "You're not gonna believe who called." I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah,
they buy. I just want to know what they bought. Because it tells a lot about the person, about what they bought. So I always thought that was cool. It was a cool job to have.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't like if you see a phone number on the TV and you want to order, call this number. I was the customer service. So if you did that, you ordered something and something went wrong, then you called us. Once you got the package or whatever, and it said, call this number if you have a problem. So I wasn't like getting all these people on TV, that saw stuff on TV and calling. It was just the backside after your order got there. But if anybody had a problem or wanted to reorder or do anything like that, they called us. And so I did that for, like I said, I started in the mailroom when I was in college, and then I did that for a good number of years. I was like 10, 11 years, and then they got bought out and shut down. So I had to go find something else to do.
Now he's trying to educate Nick about, the banking side of things.
I work for one of the largest banks in the world. Thank you very much, sir.
I work for the people that regulate those banks.
I don't have any money either which way.
I don't either.
That was the coolest thing when he's like, "Yeah, I got a job at the Fed." I'm like, "The what?" And he's like, "The Federal Reserve downtown." I'm like, "What do they do?" I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Right?
And then and then he's like, yeah, it's cool. They got their own gym and a gun range. I'm like, oh shit, you got to get a gun just to shoot there.
And a doctor. We have a doctor on staff.
I was like, bro, man.
So if you can't get in to see your primary care physician, you can just schedule an appointment at work and go down and see him.
Wow.
Man, that's the way to go. That's
we have a law enforcement group that used to, and they still do have a gun range, but they don't let you go down there anymore. It used to be we could go down there and they'd let you squeeze off a few, but that was way before 9/11 and all that stuff.
Now it's like, no.
Shooting guns is fun.
I mean, does your job let you shoot the gun down in the basement?
Yeah.
No.
Definitely
Not
don't let you do
everybody
that
does,
anymore.
so I just thought it was cool. But yeah. So that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up was he was big on the Alex Ross covers that I don't know, in the beginning I wasn't feeling them, but these last few they did when he did that series run with all those I think it was
Timeless variants?
the 32 timeless variants. I really dug those. I don't know why. It was just one of those things. And I managed to get those.
I think like with the Kingdom Come and the Marvels miniseries that he did, it was new. That was kind of his first exposure. But also for me, especially with the Kingdom Come stuff, it was all of these. Like one of the big things was the covers came out before the book, and you could speculate on who the people were because they kind of looked like characters you knew, but some of them looked totally different or totally brand new. So we were like trying to speculate on who that was. And anytime you have like these, like I said, that's why I liked Elseworlds so much and things like, and What If, because you could have kind of these variants of the characters you already knew and liked. So I was very, very drawn to that.
Yeah, we both like the What If. No doubt.
What If is a lot of fun. You have What If, 2-in-1, Team Up. All those things that were like 1 or 2 issues and you had a complete story, they're always great.
Yep.
Now, what's your favorite team up in comics, John?
Favorite team up?
Yeah.
That's a tough call. I mean, it'd probably have to be the Green Lantern, Green Arrow. Those old ones, the two of them together are just fantastic. And then even later when they did like the crossover with Connor Hawke and Kyle Rayner and the later characters of Green Arrow and Green Lantern, I was down for it. But if I had to, like, in terms of actual full team up, those old Earth 1, Earth 2 stories in the Justice League, where you would have Earth 2, Justice Society or Justice League and Earth 1, I loved those. They were, like I said, the more characters you could squeeze in, I'm there.
I really like the old Green Arrow, the Oliver Queen with when he was kind of like the Tony Stark wisecracking womanizer and always had a joke.
Yeah.
And then I was really excited to see him when they announced an Arrow TV show, and then I'm like, oh, they just made Batman with a bow for TV.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I'm like, this isn't Oliver Queen at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. We knew it wasn't going to be like that.
Yeah. But like we talked about before with Wally West being my favorite character. It was close. Roy Harper was for a while just because I kind of like those sidekicks and that underdog. But man, they wrecked that character in so many different ways. It's like it's just I had to step away and go, all right, I can't watch them destroy him anymore. I don't hold on too tight to these things, so I just move on.
Yeah, they made him a junkie pretty early on in his career,
right?
So.
Which was okay. That's cool and that's compelling. That was a compelling story. But then they, had him have a baby with the crazy lady, and then the crazy lady blew up a whole country or some crap, and then their kid got killed, and then his arm got chopped off, and then it's like, come on, man.
Someone at DC really hated him.
Yeah, right.
They just were trying to bury him.
It's like, man. Because, he did the drug addict thing, and then you had the whole idea, okay, cool, there's going to be like a redemption arc, where he's going to, and he did have that for a short while, and then they had to take him back down. It's like, I better move on to something else.
So the heavy stories, You like a little bit of heaviness in your reading, but you don't like it to be absolutely dire.
No, not really. I will say I've found as I got older, when I was collecting when I was older, I moved. I was less like what you were talking about earlier with his like the team ups and stuff like that, and just having a like two issues and the story's done. I like that kind of thing, but I found myself really drawn to like books that had like a long overarching story throughout the whole series. Like for me, a big reconnect when I got back into comics was James Robinson and Tony Harris's Starman run. And that's a very, I don't know if you've read any of that, but that's a very dense series.
I haven't, but there's a DC run that was 12 issues that I love, and I still reread it to this day. I don't know if you ever read it. It's called Camelot 3000.
Sure, yeah.
No one talks about that, and it was such a great read.
Yeah. I have a couple of those. I don't think I have the whole run, but at one point I got they have a collected edition of it, from the library, and reread that a couple of years ago, not too long ago.
No, the
I remember
art's
that very much.
fantastic. The story's fun, and a lot happens to those characters in that 12 issues. So it's just one of those good reads. Yeah. Now, what's your favorite, being a DC guy? What's your favorite modern DC reads? What's really hitting it for you right now?
Nightwing has been a big enjoyment for me when Tom Taylor picked up on that and started doing that series. I got really locked back into that, and that's probably my favorite ongoing right now that DC's putting out.
Vampires.
I don't have any of the DC versus vampires. I've read DC comics for a long time, and I don't remember any vampires. So that they've showed up now all of a sudden isn't going to draw me in. But I like Nightwing. I'm excited about Dark Crisis and what's happening with that and Justice League and everything. I'm the guy that they make those things for, even throughout. Like, I'm the sucker that buys the crossover and then buys everything that touches the crossover. I have the whole Millennium crossover and all of the books that touched it, and even the New Guardians trash series that came out of that.
Yeah.
So I was a sucker back then, and I still am. If it's a crossover where it's going to get everybody together and touch on all different parts, I'm there. I fall right into the trap.
Now, did you read Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow? Because that was a spectacular
fantastic
run.
Yep. I was able to actually.
That's my favorite modern DC run.
Don't spoil it. Even I'm hooked on that one.
Yeah, that's a great series.
Really good.
I was able to get
art is great. The story's awesome. I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Oh no, I was gonna say when we went to Baltimore, I was able to get Tom King to sign that the first issue of that for me, and that was And a big part of that for me too was I'm not a huge art guy. I like good art, but I just thought the art and the coloring on that book was so creative and just absolutely beautiful. There were some shots where, some panels where I just would sit there and look at it and be like,
it was so unique, but it fit the story so well.
And I was like, I'm not ready to move on to the next panel because I'm still absorbing this. It was really well done. Enjoyed that quite a bit.
Some of the way he wrote the observations of who she is and what she holds back and what she has to think about daily, I just thought were brilliant things that are always in the back of your mind, but you don't actively think about them when reading a character.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought his observations were really on point and very keen.
Yeah, I know King's hit and miss for some people, but I like that he. I like the way he writes, and I like that he explores different things in terms of the trauma or the mental aspects of what these heroes go through, because that's a very logical part that's not really ever been explored.
That would have been Heroes Crisis, right?
Heroes in Crisis, or Heroes even like Crisis, there were people that were upset with how he treated Adam Strange in the in that series. But I don't, like I said before, I don't make these characters like precious to me. If it's a good story, I know that it's not permanent. They've done. I mean, I've done this long enough that I know nothing sticks.
Right.
You know, we talked earlier. Barry Allen's back, for goodness sakes. You know, it doesn't cheapen his death and crisis for him to be back. I don't think he needed to come back, but he's back. And if you can tell good stories with him, great. And so, you know, I don't get too hung up on those kind of things. If it's a good story and you can explore something or talk about something that hasn't been done before, you know, that's why I liked Heroes in Crisis. I knew they weren't going to leave it as, you know, Wally was this mass murderer. You know, they would work that out eventually, you know. It's all good.
Most of us as collectors, we like a large amount of different things. But we all of us have that one character that we just don't connect with. Doesn't matter who's writing it. We just like, for me, it's Eddie Brock and Venom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Venom at all. If he's in a story, it actually detracts from the story for me. What's that character for you? Where you just don't care about the character in any way?
Conan.
Oh, Nick's going for the shots.
He's trying to get me, you know, muted and kicked off.
Right?
That's a great question. Well, you know, I'll be honest with you. I liked the old Green Lantern, Green Arrow team ups, but I think I liked that mainly for Green Arrow.
Right.
I was never a big Hal Jordan Green Lantern fan, just because he always seemed pretty stiff and just kind of, you know, by the book and boring to me. And that's why I really liked when they switched over and Kyle Rayner took over, because he was kind of this younger artistic dude that was kind of different, you know, the complete opposite. So I still, even now, have a hard time connecting to the Hal Jordan character. And he's not, you know, doesn't have a regular book or anything going for quite a while. So that's not a big disconnect. But I will say also, I have a little bit of, sorry if you hear the train coming through. I have a little bit of a connection problem sometimes with Spider-Man. I know.
Oh, you just woke Nick up.
I know. And
Told you.
yeah, and I think that's just because of how long his history is and how much they've done, that it's like the concept of Spider-Man and early Spider-Man and Spider-Man from when I was, you know, Jim and I were younger. Got it, love it, dig it. And then, you know, things just kind of went all over the place with the Clone Saga and all of that stuff. And then it was like, I started getting like, all right, this is a little too much for me, and it got bogged down. Kind of the same, kind of like my problem now with the X books. I don't have a single X book that I pick up, just because it's like,
I don't either.
I feel like I've missed too much, and there's too much going on that, like, the catch up. I need some
can't
kind
just read one, because they have to buy every single one of them together. So you're either going to spend $60
right
every 2 weeks reading X-Men books, or you're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Gary, have I mentioned how Digger Jim is my favorite of this combo right here?
Yeah, there you go.
Look, Nick's not going to sweet talk me after that Conan did. So.
right.
You know they're
Right.
killing
We're
him
united now, Nick.
They're killing him off next month.
Killing who off? Spider-Man?
No, they won't do that.
Conan?
Conan's at Titan Comics.
That's right.
So that could be really good, though, and especially the team they got. All right, so what's a character from that hasn't been prevalent in comics lately that you would like to see brought back and revitalized?
Oh, Roy Harper, that we talk about. I mean, he's still around, but I would like to see. I would like to see that dude cleaned up. Maybe get his arm back, his child back. You know, they had an interesting thing going there. Okay, so he had a child with a criminal, and obviously he got custody because she was a supervillain. So that's a great storyline right there. A young
Roy
hero
Harper,
trying to play back and be a single father at the same time. You know,
single-armed father.
Yeah, single. Yeah. I think they killed her before he lost his arm. So, but I'd go all the way back for that to him and do something with him. You know, there was an interesting miniseries in the '90s, like a 4-issue series when he was Arsenal, that Devin Grayson did. And she kind of laid some interesting groundwork with how his, we don't know anything about his mother. And she kind of laid the groundwork that there was some kind of connection to his daughter, to Roy's daughter, Leanne, to Vandal Savage. And we didn't know if that was through Cheshire or through his bloodline or what. And they kind of left it open-ended because they were going to see if they could do another miniseries or do a regular series. And it didn't, unfortunately, I don't think it sold well enough, and they never came back to it. But I think there's a lot of potential there to explore, or at least they didn't come back to it that I know of. Somebody might have addressed it somewhere else.
And he's in a comic. You can always just throw a cybernetic arm on him.
Yeah. But I always had this idea kind of like, I remember reading early on a Legion of Superheroes comic where it talked about Karate Kid. And I'm like, how is Karate Kid? I mean, he's really good at karate, sure. But how is he a superhero with the rest of these, guys? Right. And they talked about how he actually does have an inherent power of how he can look at any person, any object, any situation, and find the weakest point. So like he could look at any opponent and he could see the kill shot before any kind of initiation even started. And I thought that was kind of a neat concept.
Right.
And I thought, what if that was something that because he was from Earth. Val Armour was from Earth. I was like, what if that started a long time ago? What if somebody like Deadshot is not just really good with guns. He can see the kill shot of any situation, right? And what if somehow Roy had that same thing? When Roy was Arsenal, he had that same kind of thing, Mm-hmm. I could just imagine like a conversation where he and Deadshot's like, how do you do it? How do you miss every time? And he's like, I never miss. And he's like, yes, you do. I know you're just like me. You can see the thing that's going to kill somebody, but you don't want to kill anybody. So you miss. You just get your shot just a little off to make sure you don't kill.
Right.
Just this idea. It's like, let's bring some connection in there and get this guy back into, not just this drunken booze hound that's chasing women all the time. And I mean, that's part of why they got him in the Red Hood and the Outlaws, to be kind of this wild man. And that's kind of why they got rid of all of his baggage, I think. Got rid of his daughter, got rid of all that other stuff.
Right.
So now in the age we live in with all these movies, all these TV shows, and we have such an embarrassment of riches of all this great content, right? Do you keep up with that at all? And if you do, what do you think the best realized superhero character is and the worst realized Venom character is in movies?
Ooh, that's a tough call because I that's a TV and movies is another big thing for me. I absorb all of that stuff. So I think we're just getting to the point now where there's so much content that I've finally kind of hit that, because I was still very much until recently in that stage of I never thought I'd see these guys on a screen. So I'm just happy with any of it. And now we've kind of gotten to a saturation point where I'm, I'm like, okay, this might be a little more than we need. But I still think even with everything that came out, and it's probably just the nostalgia of it or the initial reaction, that original Christopher Reeve Superman is always going to, and Superman 2 is always going to be my touchstone of what's the best, or what's been done the best.
We saw that like a couple of times, didn't we?
Oh, a lot.
Or that you can take a superhero seriously in movies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And not just make it
right.
TV and canon.
Right. I mean,
so what's the worst realized hero in film or TV in your opinion?
I don't know. I mean, I could say Venom, but I haven't seen any of those because I just don't care about Venom.
It's okay if you say Steel.
I don't know. Steel might have hit at a time where I just was like, so excited to have any kind of superhero, and I was kind of probably into Shaq at the time too. He like hit that at the right.
Right?
Was that Shaq? Right? Was he in
there?
Yeah,
I just watched it again last month just for shits and giggles because I hadn't seen it since it came out.
Come on, Steel was awesome. I mean, geez.
That's
there's worse out there. I'm just picking.
Oh yeah, there's definitely worse out there.
Yeah, there's Venom.
Why is it that DC, John, that DC does animated, but their real life movies just don't always hit like the animated?
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily true. I just think, I mean, the Flash TV show wouldn't be on as long as it's been on if it wasn't resonating with somebody. Stargirl's fantastic.
Stargirl, yeah.
I thought
I meant like the movies.
I thought
though.
Aquaman was fantastic.
I like Titans too. Titans is a fun show.
The Titan TV show is like so completely different from the book. Of Titans, you know. But hey, buddy, I see you back there. But it's still really good. It's still fun. Doom Patrol is amazing. That's probably my favorite thing going. But all of that's, What's up,
very stealthy.
You can come here, buddy. You can ninja. Yeah, the little guy got braces today, so he's feeling the pain.
Feeling the pain.
So there goes your pull list.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we know where the money's going.
Yeah. So, but I kind of, I don't know. I'm getting a little over. Yeah, they're showing you the braces. All right. Do you need something? Okay. I'm kind of getting a little overwhelmed with some of the Marvel stuff. I mean, like I said, I've said this before and people get mad at me, but in the chat usually, but I don't see how you make a Loki TV show. You have that character and that actor and you make something so boring. But I thought that was the most boring. I fell asleep during every episode of that show. I really
enjoyed that show.
It did work for me. It just didn't work for me. I expected more. But Mark will tell you, I loved Miss Marvel, which he said is a kid show.
Such a fresh surprise.
He says is a Nickelodeon show.
I love Miss Marvel. That one took me completely by surprise, but I went in knowing next to nothing about the character, and I found the whole cast completely charming.
Yeah, I thought the casting was great. I love that they kind of built a new history for her and the family history. I thought a lot of that was really impressive and really important story to tell of the partition and all of that we've never seen much about that. And that's a real event that people went through.
And the casting was so strong. Just everyone was so good in that show.
Yeah, it was really well done. So I enjoyed that. I try to stay away from things I don't think I'm going to like. I was disappointed, with different stuff along the way, but I just usually just don't worry about it and just move on to something else. But I haven't seen any of the Venom movies. I will say that.
But you're better off.
It's just not a character I've ever really been into. But I also I think I remember when he first came out, Venom was a pretty bad dude. Right. He was pretty evil. So I don't like when they go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make a movie and kind of make this guy an anti-hero or make him funny so everybody will. And it's like, no, I just, I don't need that.
That's what I think they're going to do with Black Adam.
It's not an appealing story to me.
I don't think they're going to do that with Black Adam. Mm-mm.
He'll be a hero by the end. It's The Rock.
Oh, he will be. But Black Adam's never a bad guy to him. He's always being heroic for the people that he cares about and for himself and what he wants. So he never sees himself as a bad guy. Everybody's the hero in their own story, so to speak.
As a bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they'll bring in a common. Well, they've already said they've got Sabak in there, so there'll be a common enemy for everybody to, focus on.
Because I'm looking forward to either DC or Marvel to start going supernatural in their movies too. Bring it, like for DC, make an Etrigan movie. For Marvel, for Marvel, just bring out the Legion of Monsters. Start doing some supernatural stuff.
You know what? One that nobody's brought to light yet that they should make is Boston brand Deadman.
Oh yeah, Deadman would be fantastic.
Oh yeah,
you could do a whole
great costume design.
Yeah, you could do a whole quantum leap type of thing with him. Kind of a spin on that concept. That would just be. I mean, you could have. You could do it as a show, and it would be fantastic.
Two such odd-powered people.
Who was that?
Him and the Phantom Stranger would be a good team.
Right. Yeah.
Every time he dies, he comes back with different powers.
Yep. That would be
but you'd
cool.
have to have if you were going to do the Dead Man, wouldn't you have to have a main person that he would be able to jump into or something, or be able to see him, or
No,
how would that work?
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it would just be him.
right.
I mean,
well,
I
that's-
get you'd have to have some kind of sidekick type of thing, I guess, or something, that they'd have to, just for us as a viewer to kind of relate, I guess, maybe.
Right.
But if they did it right,
well,
they would need that.
it could be an anthology though. Like he could jump into a different person every episode.
Oh yeah,
Just
for
like
sure.
just like with the old Hulk show, when he was walking, every episode was just this different circumstance he ended up
Right.
in.
Right.
And Deadman could do that easily in this modern setting with his power set.
Yeah.
Very true.
Nick's gone dark on us.
Good call.
Yeah,
Nick.
actually,
Mood
since I
lighting.
mentioned that, I'm looking up Dead Man comics that I need.
Nice. Yeah, that it is a great visual on that character too, and that's part of why I'm excited about Black Adam. It's like I've long felt that the Dr. Fate costume is the coolest design in comics. So to see that realized come into a clearly, I'm excited about that, just to see that for real.
And Adam Smasher. I
Yeah,
was
Adam
really
Smasher.
in it.
Yeah.
You got I'm sorry, Taylor Winder and Naman saying Spectre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spectre would be a little tough just because the level of his power. It's like it would have to be what's this week's catastrophe.
Right.
Not just like you can't do too many small stories with the Spectre. It'd be fun though.
Now I'm looking forward to seeing Dr. Fate in the new Black Adam movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Me too. I'm stoked for that. All of them too. I mean, Adam Smasher, Jim mentioned because
Hawkman looks amazing.
yeah. And I was real big on all of the JSA and those All-Star Squadron books, and then moving into Infinity Incorporated, I have that whole run. And then when Adam Smasher moved into the later JSA, all of that. So I like that character a lot, that Al Rothstein character.
Now, I think it'd be cool if DC made a movie not in their modern continuity, but do like an old school JSA movie.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah,
are we gonna see Obsidian in Stargirl? You think? Is that?
I think this season, yeah.
Yeah.
We've already
That's
seen
the show
Jade.
I haven't
so-
checked out at all.
Man, Gary,
Stargirl?
It's
It's
I thought it was great. I wasn't sure. I was apprehensive but I was like,
I haven't heard one bad thing about it. So.
Yeah, it was really good.
To me, it's like Miss Marvel, in that they found a lead. They found a young actress who could play this character not as cheesy, but as believable, even though some of the events going on around her and things going on are kind of cheesy and unbelievable, and type of thing. She plays it well in like a grounded way that it's like, all right, you don't get kind of taken out of it. And the whole cast on that has been really fun.
Yeah, Luke Wilson's great. Luke Wilson's amazing. No, you don't understand. This guy will kill you. No, I think I've got him. No, he will kill you. Nah, I'm good. I love the banter back and forth between the two of them. She's like, I've got my staff. I'm good.
Yeah.
It's like,
That's a good question from Zach. When do we get?
Well, we've seen Solomon Grundy in the Stargirl show.
Yeah,
and
Solomon
the
Grundy's
CGI
in-
they did on it for a TV show is not bad.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, he's in there.
So there's still a Flash question I got to ask you.
Mhm.
The John Wesley Shipp Flash TV show.
Yeah, absolutely. I
just
have it on
remember loving
DVD.
that when I was younger, and one of those guilty pleasure shows. It wasn't the best thing on TV, but with him and Amanda Pays, it was just a lot of fun.
Oh, it was amazing. I have it on DVD. I love that thing.
Yeah, and the costume. And did you get
Yeah.
the Flash special comic that they had too with it?
I don't think I did. No.
Oh wow!
But
that was fun.
I'll tell you, to kind of circle back to what we talked about, we would come home from school and our mom wouldn't let us watch TV. She was watching Guiding Light, and John Wesley Shipp was on Guiding Light. That's what he started on.
That's what
the
he
soap
started
opera.
on.
And we went to a wedding of a friend of ours when we were kids. Jim and I were kids. We went to a wedding, and John Wesley Shipp was the cousin of the girl getting married. And he came to the wedding and sang in the wedding. This
Wow.
was when he was still on
Soap
Guiding Light.
operas, right?
Yeah, he was
the
still
soap
on
operas.
Guiding Light at the time. And I'm telling you, my mother would have ran off with him. You know, she loved our father, but man, if she would have taken off with him in a heartbeat.
And you didn't know that you had a brush with Flash.
Right. It was
Yeah.
before.
Well,
Yeah.
he was
And
on
so
Felicity too as Dawson's father back then. Too.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was later after Flash.
Yeah.
But I actually, so then when the new Flash show came out and he was Barry's dad, you know, I put a tweet out and to him and said, you know, I met you at a wedding when I was a kid and my mom was crushing on you. I grew up with you being my Flash, and now you're the dad of the Flash my kids are growing up with. And he tweeted me back and he was like, that's so great. I absolutely love hearing that. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. So I love that old series. I thought it was well done for the time, especially the CGI or the effects were great for the time. That suit had to be hot as blazes. You know,
I ran into him a few months ago at a small con here, and it was early in the con. I kind of walked past him, and he looked me dead in the eyes. Said, "Good morning, how are you?" And I damn near melted.
Yeah,
he's a strapping dude. I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty cool."
Like, one time I was in Chicago for work, and this was right before the Watchmen movie came out. And one night after working, I was just, instead of going back to the hotel, I was just wandering around, and I went into this bookstore, and I pulled a Watchmen book off the shelf and was just kind of flipping through it because they had this one that was, you know, they were trying to sell it since the movie was going to be coming out soon. And this voice says, "Are you excited about the movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty excited." I looked up, and I don't know if you know who Dermot Mulroney is.
Yep.
He's an actor, but Young Guns and all these different things. And I looked up, and it was him. And he was like, "I'm really excited about it too." And I was like, "This might be one of the best good-looking men I've ever seen in my life." I was like stunned at how, like, it's not just movie makeup. He's actually that handsome, you son of a bitch. He was super nice. Stood there and talked to him about comic books for a little while, and then about music, because he plays like the cello, and he was heading up to New York to play at the Emmys. He was actually going to play in the orchestra pit for the Emmy Awards. I was like, that's just wild. But he's just one of those things where comics kind of pulls people in.
Now I'm going to ask a question, and it's for everyone on the panel and you, John. Just something fun. You guys are casting directors. You get one hero or villain, and the actor or actress of your choice. Who's the hero or villain that you're going to cast, and who are you casting in the role? And I'll start out by saying, just for fun, I don't like the character at all, but I think this is one of my favorite actors, and I think he would nail this. Guy Gardner, who is a total dick, and I think the guy that could play him best is John C. McGinley.
Oh, absolutely. He'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
He would be absolutely fantastic at that. That's a great question.
So, Nick, let's start out with you, buddy.
I would have to say Warren Worthington as Angel, and it would be the guy from Narcos who played the American. I don't know what his name is.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
I have not seen Narcos.
Yeah, he'd be good.
I think he was in Logan as well. Let me see.
Was he?
Oh, I know who you're talking about now. He would be a good Angel. Yeah,
Well,
he was the bad guy, and he was also in the new Predators movie.
Right.
Oh, I gotta look.
Boyd Holbrook.
Yes.
Oh yeah, sure.
That is a great call. I'd be 100% behind that.
Oh, he's also in the Sandman now too.
Yeah,
Jim,
He's in Sandman?
yeah, he's in the
Yes.
Sandman.
He plays the Corinthian.
Yep.
Man,
All right,
I
let's
don't
go
have
with you
this.
next, Jim.
I'm trying to think who I would want to. I'd like to see somebody.
Oh, I would also cast Anna de Armas as Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew.
Yeah,
That would work. That would work.
See, that's what I was trying to think who I'd pick to be Spider-Woman. And you're taking away my thunder. That's good.
Hey,
Um,
the Gray Man. Blade Runner 2046. She's now Marilyn Monroe.
Right?
Yeah, that's a tough one too. That's a tough character. That's a tough. I mean, to play somebody that iconic. I'll
And
be
Knives
interested to
Out,
see
she
how
was
that goes.
spectacular in.
Yeah. I don't have one. Go to John.
All right, John, what have you got?
I don't have one.
Jim's son.
I'd probably go somebody more obscure, like we talked about, maybe Phantom Stranger or The Question. But I'd go with somebody that's kind of got like some real kind of gravitas to him, like Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights and lots of different stuff, because he's just got kind of a voice and a presence that even if he was in some kind of mask or anything like that, I just think he's a fantastic actor, so you could cast him as anybody and I'd watch.
I love you, Taylor Winder.
I like the guy that's been on from The Boys, the one that
not Martin Starr.
No, the one that just came out of
Anthony Starr. So
Anthony Starr.
But
I'm talking about his daddy, the one that
Jensen Echols from Supernatural.
Yeah, Jensen Echols, man. I think he can play a lot of stuff. I've always liked him. I liked him over his brother, and when they were doing that show.
I like Anthony Starr a lot. I think he's nailed that Homelander character. I liked him on Banshee, which was
he was great. That was a great
killer series.
See, I never saw that.
Oh man, it's brutal. I mean, it was definitely one of those ones where you go, "There's no way two guys can beat on each other that long and that hard, and still just get up and walk away." There's an ambulance that's got to show up.
You know, it was on Cinemax. Yeah, you don't mess with Amish people as far as that show is concerned.
So yeah, he played like a character like who was like, I think he was like in prison or something, and then he got out and he came to this small town and they like made a mistake, or they mistook him, to whatever the word is, to be the new guy that was coming in to be like the sheriff of the town. And he was just like, yeah, that's me. And so he just kind of becomes like the sheriff of this town. And he's just brutal in how he deals with everybody. And eventually they're just like, he's getting the bad guys out of here, so we'll let him keep being sheriff, even though he's...
I'd also cast him as Dracula in the new Blade movie.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be killer. I've heard a rumor about that, and that would be killer.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big fan of casting Kyle Urban and everything. He's no matter what you put him in, he's great. He was great in that Pathfinder movie, which hardly anybody watched.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Him and Moonblood.
More Urban.
Oh yeah,
more Urban. Yes.
Yeah.
He was a great Bones. You think no one else can play Bones, and then he nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Judge
Dredd. He was a great Judge Dredd.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of want to go see that again.
But,
I kind of like to see that one again too.
But we are approaching the hour and 10-minute mark, so we are going to start wrapping this up. This is
Golden
just
time.
flown by really fast. And first, we'll start going around. Nick, what's coming up on your channel, sir?
Pushing towards 500, but I just wanted to take a moment out to say it was really good chatting with you guys. I know usually when we're on streams together, the whole bunch of different characters, don't really get a chance to speak to you one-on-one like this. It was really good time getting to know both of you guys. You're not twins, really?
Really not. He is 3 years older.
3 years.
But when you guys
old.
see Nick, could you just pretend to be twins for Nick?
Okay.
Sure. Sometimes we finish each other's
Thoughts.
sentences.
Sentences.
Come on, Cam.
I know. I just messing. I can't do it, Nick. I could do that, but I can't.
Okay.
Jim, what's coming up for you, sir?
I am doing a well, I don't have it in front of me. I'm doing a deep dive into the Delta Dogs comic books. I have 1 through 18, so I'm currently setting that up. I'm going to read each one and do a review of like the first set of stories, and then put that up there, and hopefully maybe even talk to Von L about coming on and talking about it. I don't know if he's the one that writes Delta Dogs. So
Is he the one you take a pic at every con that he never posts?
yeah, he doesn't love me for some reason, but I love his book.
We've been to 2 conventions and seen him, and every time he's been and Jim and him talking, he's like, let me get a selfie, let me get a picture with you. And they take a picture, he gets the guy to take a picture, and then we look the next day on Instagram and he's got like just a stream of pictures, me and all these people. And
I'm never on it.
I was like, Jim, you must not take a good picture, my man.
I must not. I must not be.
No, delete.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay.
John, have you got anything coming up?
I do. I have a unboxing video that'll be coming up here soon where I got some things from some different people. I won a giveaway that Bearded Comic Bro did on Twitter. So
Nice.
Any of those folks that are following here on YouTube and on Instagram, you might want to check out his Twitter because he gives away stuff there too. And then I won a giveaway that Scott or SVon82 did, and I'd like to open that, but I'd really like to do a little something focusing more on his recent video. I don't know if you saw it on Comic Book Stories that focus on addiction and mental health. It's a really great video because he goes into some different comic stories, but he also tells his own personal story. He's incredibly candid and open about things that he's been through, and I think those are kind of some things we all need to talk about a little more and be a little more open with. And he just did a really great job. So I'd like to make sure that's highlighted in the video. And then my man Ruby G sent me something that is just amazing. It's a Ruby G original. I can't wait to show that off. So that'll be coming up next week sometime.
Yeah, Ruben's great. He's been a little missing in action lately. I've been missing him in the streams and stuff and making his own content.
Sometimes
you got to get him back out there.
So. Yeah. But he sent something to Cole and a couple of other people. So I think he's been like getting more into his art, and kind of digging back into that. And that takes a lot of time,
Oh, yeah. I know he was buying up the blank covers.
Yeah. And he's been doing a lot of things for different people. It's really incredible what he did. And it's very generous that he took that much time and energy.
I can't wait to see that video.
Yeah, I'm excited. And this was great. I really appreciate you having me on. This, I echo what Nick said. It's nice to kind of have these smaller chats and get to know each other a little better. I really enjoyed the 411 the other night with Lisa. She did a great job, and you kind of do a great job moving that whole thing along and kind of getting people to kind of open up about different stuff. And I really enjoy that show that you do.
See, now I didn't watch that on the rewind.
Oh, it's really good. She did she just got a great personality, and she did a really great job. And she had some books that are kind of different than what, a lot of the rest of us might show. And that was really kind of cool.
The thing about that show, though, is everybody brings something different.
Yeah.
You just get a little bit better peek into their personality.
Yeah.
Right on.
That was a lot of fun.
That's why, I got to get you guys on there at some point. You, Nick, and Jim, and my Tuesdays are booked up through August, so I got to start scheduling September.
Yeah. I love to talk, so I'll do it anytime.
Nice. I'll be in contact. We will get that settled. Gents, let's thank the chat. Really good, active chat tonight. Thank you guys all for coming out to support the channel, to support John. And as I like to remind everybody, anyone who's on the panel, and Jim, I will get your link up there. I promise. Check out their links in the description below and sub them up if you haven't. Check out their content. Nick on the road to 500.
Yep,
John just passed 100. And Jim, you're on the road to what?
200.
He's at 182, so it's not that far off.
Right. So sub up these great gents. They're all really, really nice people, good community members. And that's it for tonight, guys. And until next time.
Be sure to go over to Burke Family 54 and buy some comics.
There you go. Go support the auction going on right now over at Burke 54's channel.
Sorry.
Thank you.
It's fine.
Thank you, guys.
People in the rewind, the auction will be over, but all these guys can head over.
That's true.
Yeah.
Keep it casual, guys.